Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mind Hiking Podcast. I am your host, Brody Frye. Today, we got a special guest, a returning guest actually, and this person's episode, I believe, is the most underrated episode that I have on this podcast. There is so much gold within this person's episode that if you haven't listened to it, please go give it a listen. And if you have listened to it, definitely go back and re-listen to it, please. It's awesome. It's a great episode. And I'm blown away that it didn't do better than actually all the other episodes, because this episode is amazing. It's fantastic. So please go check it out again. It is episode number 10. So this episode is going to be very raw, very real. I'm going to be super open, honest, and vulnerable in this episode. I do my best to do that in every episode, but especially in this episode. This podcast, I really want to leave this honest growth, this honest progression of my life behind. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I want you to see who I am and where I'm at currently, and then as I grow, to see that progression in as close to a real time frame as I can make it. So a lot of what I'll talk about, a lot about what I do talk about, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this episode could be taken as embarrassing or something that a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable sharing if it was in their own personal lives. But I want to be totally open and totally honest, especially if this is a project that I want my children to look back on and see where I was at and how I got to that point. So I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I want it to be real and raw. And for the listeners, take that how you want. I'm going to be real. I want to be a example. I want to, when I die, what I say here won't hurt me, won't affect me. And when you guys die, that worry of what people might say or think about me doesn't matter. None of that matters. So I'm just leaving this behind. I want to be real, open, and honest, and I want to be an example for those that are here and those that'll listen. And when I go, this will still be here, and people will still be able to listen in and see a real example of my life and what I left behind and the lessons that I learned. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. So that judgment and that fear of what people think of me, I don't care, because there's a bigger image here. There's a bigger plan here, and I want to leave this behind. I want to provide my experience and knowledge in the most real way possible. So think of this as you will, but I'm going to continue anyway. So I appreciate all of your support, and thank you so much. And let's jump into this episode. Hey everyone, it's Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. Sweet baby. Mm-hmm. I love you.
I love you.
You're live.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're so cute. You're a tired girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I love you.
I love you.
We got a room full of doggos, so as usual, I am so sorry for the noise, the breathing, the whining. I know in Steve Frye's episode, my dad, that episode, Bailey was just uncontrollably whining, and I felt awful about it. But I'm like, I want to get this episode out, but there's nothing I can do about this dog. She won't stop.
She's clingy.
And like, if you try to get her out of the room, it's just like she gets louder.
Yeah, she does.
So, and it was just the two of us in the house. So,
Yeah, never shut the door on Bailey alone.
Yeah. If somebody was out there with her, then it would have been fine. But yeah, the dog life, love it. Okay, well, this episode I do kind of have a direction I want to take this. I want to dive into a little bit about my past, and then in a different sense, though, not necessarily the sports that I played kind of thing, but I want to get into some of the more life side of things and where we're going, the struggles, and kind of where we want to be and where we're at now, and the journey side of life, I guess. So I guess I will. Well, actually, I want to also start off by just saying how the last episode we had was awesome. Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, not the last episode, because you were a surprise guest on a bonus episode too, Intuition.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You're talking about that one,
No,
right?
not that. They're both awesome, but I'm referring to episode number 10.
Oh, my first one?
Yep, your first one.
Really?
Yeah,
I liked Intuition better.
They're both fantastic. Okay, yeah, go check them both out, because I mean, you're just killing it.
Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll do a poll.
I really think there's so much good stuff in, like, oh my goodness, Bailey, hitting the desk.
I know.
So much good stuff in the episodes that we do together, and just the information, and I feel like we bounce ideas off so nicely, and there's like a more, it's just like you get, it's so natural, because I think there's, it's a perfect balance of like the feminine masculine blend there, because there's the spiritual side that you're more in tune with, and then there's the more driven, logical, side of things that kind of I cater to more.
Yeah.
So I think the blend and the balance between the two of us is very beneficial, which is, the perfect partnership.
Yeah.
For success.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you're very manly and I'm very girly and feminine, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're adorable. So, I'm going to take us back kind of where I was from, growing up on the farm. Well, okay, so I've lived for over a year, a year's time. I've lived in 4 houses in my life. And that was the house I grew up in on the farm, my childhood house. And then when I was 17, I moved out, and I was fortunate enough to live on the farm, and we had multiple houses on the farm, and one of those houses became available, and at 17, I had moved out and into that house. And also, I've always been like a very, I obviously worked for the family business, but people kind of get a misconception about, like I was given everything, but I was kind of forced to grow up really fast. Like at 17 years old when I moved out, it was like I move out to that house, and again, I was fortunate enough to have that house, but I mean, still, I learned really quick that there was a lot more expenses than just rent. You had like all the electric bill, the utilities, the garbage, and all this gas, and just keeping up on the house. Because like when I was living with, yeah, that too, but just keeping up on the house, like things as simple as soap, laundry detergent, and toilet paper, stocking the fridge, all of this stuff I never had to struggle with until, I moved out on my own. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take the house. And then when I moved out, it was like a big hit. I was like, oh wow, there's a lot more hidden expenses here than I realized, because it all that little stuff adds up. So I was forced to grow up really quick. And then also like my own health insurance, all the vehicles, auto insurance. I bought my 2 vehicles on my own. Everything was all by myself. My first truck, I bought it when I was 15, and it was a 2003 F-250. Then when I was 17, it was before I got the house. I bought my second vehicle, and I still had my truck. I kept both of them. And I had a 1988 Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, and that was a 5-speed manual. It was a badass car. And then in 2017, I bought a brand new KX250F just for fun. And I also had a 2011 KLX 110L with a 130 big bore kit, ported polished head. It was a badass little bike. But plenty of toys, plenty of vehicles, had the house, and really I felt like what's funny is like I felt like I had life by the balls. Like I was like, this whole life thing is easy. I love it. I was 18 years old, had my own house, had all of this stuff, and I had $10,000 in the checking account, $12,000 in stocks, $4,000 in savings. And you can judge me for that disbursement how you will, but looking back now, I would have divvied that up a little different. But the point is, I was doing pretty well at 17, 18 years old, and I didn't have any fears or cares because I didn't really have any goals or plans at that point. So life was just happening. I worked hard, and I didn't spend my money on little bullshit stuff. I saved it, and then when I wanted to get something cool, like a bike, or like I was good at the big purchases like that, and I always just paid them off. And it was like I had no worries, so money just kind of like flowed to me, and I was able to hang on to it. And then as life progressed, I started to think, like, and my beautiful, lovely girlfriend came into my life, and she really got me thinking about, what am I doing? Where am I going? What do I want to do? I remember you asking me, like, what do you want to do with your life? And I'd never really given it that much thought. And that's when, like, the fear of what am I doing really hit me. And I was like, oh no, what am I doing? Where am I going? Do I want to do more? And that's when it became difficult. And I felt this. The reason why I'm giving you this whole backstory is just because I want you guys to understand and get this sense of, at this point was where I believed that I formed a barricade or a blockade in my heart, possibly, or my soul, where, all right, that's my good boy guard dog there, Baron. He had to go yell at the UPS guy real quick, so I was gonna cut that, but Catie says leave it in.
I do. Yes, definitely leave it in.
It's character, I guess.
Yeah.
And Baron doesn't get many words in on this podcast, so that's cool.
It's only ever Bailey. So
yeah, that's true. So, all right, Baron made the podcast, so that's cool.
So this is actually Baron's episode, not mine.
Yeah. Okay, so where I was at was, like, I feel like I formed, at that point in my life, I feel like I formed this kind of block in my heart. I don't even know if it was like the heart. It was, I feel like the soul would be a better way to put it, because that's where I found, what I built up to start crumbling. And I kind of like felt like I was falling apart. And I feel like that age is kind of a good, strong developmental age. And I really started learning a lot about life at this point in my life. And I really had to grow up fast, and I ended up getting into kind of a family argument and had to leave the farm. And thankfully, I had Catie by my side, and I was 21. You were 19, right?
Yeah.
And we moved down to a house in Chicago, which was,
My grandpa's house.
yes, your grandpa's house.
He was fine. He was just moved into a retirement home.
Yep.
So the house was just not being lived in. So
Yep.
you were keeping it nice and running.
Yep. Yes, but in the city, it is very expensive. And now on top of that, I went from, living where I worked to now
Traveling.
well, and this too, I before we left the property, I did get a new job, and I'm still at the current job. And yeah, so now it was across the street literally. And that was one of the bigger reasons why I was like, I saw they were hiring and I was like, oh, that'll be nice. Like a 30-second commute time. And so now I'm commuting like an hour and 10 minutes on top of super expensive living costs. And I had to, I'm tapping into my savings all.
And most of the time we were at my grandpa's house. It was during COVID. So
Hours were extremely cut.
I wasn't
Yep.
working because I'm a hairstylist, so that
Yep.
we weren't essential workers, so everything shut down. And personally, not to talk about finances, but I didn't get any of the what was it called, the reimbursement for during COVID.
Oh yeah, that bullshit.
So I was making zero basically, and then you have hours cut.
Yep.
While paying for everything.
Yep. Yeah. The stimulus check. That's what
That's what it was.
Yep.
I blacked it out.
Yeah. And I switched bank accounts too at that point. And because the bank that I had was only up where I had lived. There was only that like 2 or 3 locations up here. So I had to switch banks too. I switched banks before the stimulus check, so I didn't get that. And because I didn't have the same account. And then I find myself tapping into it. So I feel like I built this like blockade or barricade, and this is kind of where this all happened. Like I started thinking about life, and boom, all this stuff just happens, and tapping into savings and stuff, and it's dwindling fast, and we were struggling hard, especially with the commute, and that was really rough. We were there, and I started to rekindle my relationship with my family and my father, and then after so long, it just became, financially infeasible to remain there, and we had a sit down, and we actually went camping and just got away. Had a sit down and just decided to move back onto the farm, but in the same house that I grew up in with my father, because now the house that I had was already being rented out, so I couldn't go back there. And so we moved back in with my dad, and then started saving up some money. And at this point I was 23 years old.
Yep.
And saved up some money, and I still had my stocks. I never touched those at that point. And then we bought a house, and I bought my first house at 23 years old and sold it 7 months later. It was, go ahead.
Oh, I just was going,
Oh, yep. Yeah. And then it was like within a month after that, we bought the second house. So I bought, sold, and bought again a house at 23 years old.
Can we say why we bought the house?
Sure. Yeah.
Because we flipped it.
Yes.
Just so people know that we didn't just buy a house and then after some months we're like, peace out. Don't want this house. We did it to flip the house, which was a great learning lesson. There was a lot of great things about it and a lot of bad things. There was a lot of great moments, a lot of fights, a lot of all of that comes with anything that's like a big learning growth lesson in your life. Normally they say when you're feeling the most down or you feel like life's hitting you the hardest is when the most growth is happening too. And it definitely was during that period of time of life for the both of us. And we learned from it. And thankfully we broke even, right? So regardless, we broke even and had a little bit more.
We made money. Barely. Though. It was, we definitely didn't lose money.
It's better than losing money.
Right. Especially for 23 years old, our first house. And I didn't know, I didn't know anything. Obviously I've been mechanically inclined, so I am good at figuring stuff out.
Yep.
But, there was so much electrical, there was light switches that would turn on the light but off the refrigerator, and everything was just fucked. And so me and my buddy JJ, we went in there and we rewired the house and the plumbing. We had to pull pipes out of the wall and literally just auger these things out all the way out to the street just to clear the pipes out because it wasn't draining. There was a flood underneath the kitchen sink, and we ripped out the floor in the bathroom and retiled it. I replaced the vanity in the bathtub and repainted the entire house. We redid the whole floor in the basement. It was a full-size floor in the basement. There was a spot where there was mold in the basement from flooding from the kitchen there. And we had to cut the wall out and re-drywall it. And I learned all of this as we replaced all the appliances. All of this I've never done before, and we just did it. And it was such a great learning experience, and it was a struggle. It was hard, but we learned so much, and then we sold it. So this is why we did it, to flip it. But we wanted a nice, beautiful house, and we couldn't afford it at the time. What we could afford was a super shitty house that was an hour away. It was, it was a long drive, but it was very cheap, rough shape, but it was big. It was a big house, so it had a lot of potential, and it was right next to a school. The location was great, right next to
the neighborhood
grocery
was
store.
nice.
Yeah, it was a nice neighborhood, but the house was the ugliest house in the neighborhood. It was so beat up, so run down, and we got it. I lowballed them, and they accepted, and it was awesome. So we fixed it up, and I now know what I should have done. In real estate, I should have focused on the bathroom. We completely redid the bathroom.
Those secrets.
Oh, the secrets. Yeah, the real estate secrets. I was reading so many real estate books and just, I wanted to rent it actually for a while, but then I was like, I would just want to get a nice house for us, and I don't want to.
Well, also there was a lot of issues too, and with us financially, you were kind of like, I would rather us sell it and be able to use it to buy our next house than us try and rent it, and then things go wrong because we haven't had the house for long and we don't know what else is going to go out, and we can't afford it for renters. Right. So
well, and that was the plan I was getting to too, because we wanted a nice house, and this was our way of affording a nice house. Is we bought a shitty house, fixed it up, flipped it, and put that money all towards the down payment for our current house.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of funny though, like full circle things or things in your life that happen that you're like, oh, like that's so weird, because we flipped that house to get our house now, which is more north from where we were. And then now that house that we flipped, when we went there, it was a whole new area. We've never been there. It's an hour away. And now I'm there all the time because it's near where I work now. And I started working at the place I work now because of this area, and was like, I'm kind of close to Wisconsin, so let me look around the area and see what places, and just the fact that everything kind of fell into place. And then sometimes when I'm driving around that area, I'll pass the places of like the Home Depot or the Menards that we went to, and the DQ that we would, no, that was it DQ or was it?
Yeah, we went, DQ
or was it Sonic?
Both.
both. But like I passed those places and I like remember us
Yeah.
stopping there to get food before we'd stop at the house.
Yep.
And I just think it's funny that like we would go after you would work till also guys, like we were working. So he would work till 5:30 and then we would leave and drive an hour just to spend 2 hours to go paint
Yep.
or fix whatever and then drive home. And we did that almost like every day
Yeah.
for the longest time. And I think it's funny now because I'm like, oh, I like make that drive every day now.
Yeah. And I felt guilty. I'd be like, take a 1 day off, 1 weekday off, not of work. I'd still go to work, but then like I'd get home from work and
be,
I'd
like,
be like,
so tired.
I'm so tired. I can't go out to the house to paint it or fix it up or anything. Like I'm just going to take it. And like, but it was like every single day other than like here and there a couple times.
And also we did stuff by like me and you or even just you. But also we had a lot of friends that would come and help too. So if there was like a project that you knew was like the next step to work on and you were so exhausted and no one else was coming with you, even like me, like I'm help, but I'm not much help when it comes to certain things, like, carrying a refrigerator or something or moving something around. I would just look pretty, play music and paint. That like if it was something like heavy duty or electrical or like stuff like that and it was just you would be like, I'm exhausted and it's just me. So I feel guilty and we're missing out on a day, but like I feel like it's smarter for us not to waste the gas and go,
Yep. Yeah, that was a huge expense too, is just the fuel to commute out there. And another huge expense too is just purchasing tools, because a lot of these, and then all the doors, we replaced all the doors, even reframed the exterior door, front and rear door.
Didn't we also get a new bathroom vanity too?
Yep. Yeah. We completely redid the whole bathroom, and yeah, we did so much. We learned so much, but I had to buy a whole set of tools that I never thought I'd need. And it was just such a major learning experience. But and it was a large struggle, but I'm so grateful for that because I learned so much. And again, just another time where it forced me to grow up really fast. And I just want to give a quick shout out, a quick thank you so much for my dad, Steve Frye, because this would not have been possible without him, because he provided the living space for us. And in this period of time, he knew that we were struggling. And when we moved back in with him, he wasn't charging us rent.
No.
And
no questions asked either.
Yeah, no questions asked either. He took us right in, and
me.
Yeah, both of us. And with the dog too, because originally when I was living there, Baron wasn't with us, and then when I moved into that other house, I got Baron, and then now we're back. I got Catie with me and a dog, Baron. So he took us in, no questions asked, and no rent. And that flipping this house wouldn't have been possible without that support that he provided. So thank you so much, Dad. I love you. But yeah, so we flipped that place, and then we searched, did some more, and I remember like all the real estate agent on the buying side, and my lawyer, their lawyer, and the loan officer, they're all just like 23 years old. You're way too young to be selling a house. Like, it's one thing to be buying, but selling a house at 23, it's pretty crazy. So then bought this house that we're currently in, and we love it. And it's just like, there's still, and this is what I was talking about in the opener, I'm going to be raw, open, and honest, but that barricade, I feel I'm still working on it. To kind of come full circle here is when I felt like I had the world by the balls, life by the balls. It was like I didn't have a care in the world, and I didn't have anywhere that I planned on being or going. It was just I was living life and just enjoyed it in the moment. And I was just kicking ass. I didn't have worries or fears or anything. I just did what I wanted, and everything was working out. I wasn't looking ahead to the future at what I wanted to do or becoming, and I think this is the key, but becoming attached to outcomes that I wanted. And now I find myself becoming attached to outcomes that I want, and especially time frames that I want. And I find it to be more draining, and I'm struggling more, more now that I'm becoming attached to expectations. I have these expectations and now I like I become let down when these expectations don't, manifest, I guess.
Yeah. And I do feel like personally, I mean, we're young. I mean, I'm 23 and you're 25, right? Yeah. I just want to double check. But I just feel like also during this time of our age, we're so young, but yet there's so much we want to accomplish. And also we feel like time's going by so quick. Because I personally do really feel like time goes by really quick. And it's like that clock that I feel like it hits you once you're like 22, 23.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
it's weird.
Yeah, I think it's different for each individual, and depending on how their life is going and what struggles they're thrown into, also where life hits them, because there are people that are totally fine up until their 40s, 50s, where they don't care, but other times you see young individuals that are forced to grow up quick, and then other people are like 30 years old. They're like, okay, I should probably start getting this thing together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's different for everybody else, but or every individual, I mean. But yeah, I always had like a spark of wanting to be, and just dreams at a young age of wanting to be successful in my own eyes, and I just never really put too much effort and thought into it until you came around, and you really sparked me to start driving. This is when all this change happened, and I think all of this is necessary for success, and these are lessons that I'm learning. I'm like sharpening my tools right now, and I'm not being completely honest here. I'm not where I want to be. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but that's good. I set your goals high, and I'm growing and I'm learning, and this is all skills that I need to know now while I'm young. I'd much rather learn all this stuff now than when I'm getting too old. And this is all just, part of the journey, part of the path, and part of finding success.
Yeah. I also feel like, to tie it into relationships too, a lot of people, I feel like it's very common nowadays for people to be so quick to judge like people that they're dating, or for them to do something and to instantly be like, ew, no, or we're done, or be very much like that. And I can fully say, like, me and Brody have been together for almost 4 years. It's gonna be 4 years next month. And I feel like our relationship is a great example of patience, unexpected, because from where we started, I still to this day, like, I'm like, I'm with him.
And this is the reassurance that I need, is ever since we started dating, it was so steady, but once we started dating, like, my life became so volatile and roller coastery.
Yeah.
And you stick around. You stay.
We've gone through a lot of shit.
It's just been insane. It's like, oh my goodness. Like,
but the thing is I feel like me and you constantly want to jump off bridges sometimes. But on the other hand, God. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. But also on the other hand, I feel like this was what my point was, is there's so many things that people are so quick to stop. But it's like the day to day of, like, even the things you don't even think that could change. Like, for example, like, this might be too much information, but like the way we kiss is not the same we did when we first started dating. Yeah. Like, it's just like the way that we talk to each other. You playing guitar, but when we first started dating, like, you would have never, like, you didn't even connect to music. And I was very, like, in the music, because like we talked about in that episode, like, my family and stuff. But like, it's crazy. Like, me and you have gone through so much. We've gone through so many life changes, so many different stages of our relationships as people, all of that. We have 2 dogs now. You know, we got our puppy literally the week after we got our house. But we had a deposit on her like months.
Yeah, we were worried. There were some issues with closing, and we were worried we weren't going to close on the date that
we were going to have like this little puppy at his dad's house.
My dad's before we closed on the house.
But still, we've gone through so much, but we've both grown for the better so much. You know, even like when we first started dating, like I didn't listen to Audible, but I would read some books and I would read some stuff like that you didn't read at the time. And so then you actually got me hooked on Audible, and me and you were constantly listening to Audible all the time. And
always
growth
you got to listen to this book.
And self-improvement books, which I would read. I would get like the self-improvement stuff, but I never really got into certain self-improvement books, and you got me into those. And
I was pretty heavy into the financial side, and like especially after flipping the house, I got big into real estate too.
Yeah, mine was more just like, oh, how to self-care, go take a bubble bath, go do this, do this monthly, go on detoxes, go on, like I would read a lot of that stuff. But then you got in more like the financial side, Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
and maximize profits
and all of those stuff, and that got me into it. Just like before we started dating, I knew nothing about stocks or finances or anything, and I actually was kind of interested in it, but it wasn't really a topic my family talked about. And your family was very open about finances and stocks and growth and all of that. So you actually taught me a lot of that stuff and balancing that stuff and putting my money into that, and would show me the stocks that you use and like all of that it like opened my eyes to that part, that I feel like the things that I lacked, you were really good at, and the things that you lacked is what I have or I'm really good at. So yeah. But also what I'm saying is like when you're with someone, like I'm going to be completely honest here. And I've said this to you, but like my relationship track record in the past, I have not always, I've been broken up before, but like I've always been the one to break up with my partners. Like I've always been the one where I know when I'm done, I'm done. Like I have always had that. I've had that switch.
That's why I gotta make sure I'm on the top of my game constantly.
Stop. But I'm saying, like, I tell this to my mom and my dad. I might cry. Ignore me. But I've told this to so many people where, like, I know you're my soulmate because I don't have that. Like, even in our worst time, and we are not talking, or we are just going through it, because people need to know that, like, some people might look at us and be like, oh, they're perfect. We're not. Like, we go through so many ups and downs, but I know that at my worst, when I am feeling so upset about something you said or you did, the person I want to talk to about it and the person I want to go to about it is you. And I feel like that means so much, because I don't want to hide and I don't want to spend time at work and get away from you. When I'm upset with you, I want to talk to you and figure it out. And oddly, I want to be comforted by the person that makes me feel the safest in the whole entire world, even if you're the one who's causing the pain for some reason, you know? And I just feel like that says so much. And if you have that person and you are in a society where, like, you know, they're not perfect and your partner made you cry and run your mascara or anything, and so people are like, just break up with them and you'll find someone better, you need to trust your gut, knowing that you don't want to leave. Don't leave, because people change and they grow, and where we were a year ago, months ago, is not who we are now, and we're growing rapidly, even if life seems very dark and like a roller coaster, and sometimes again, like we like are frustrated with each other or little things like that. That's so natural. Even in the moment, it causes you so much pain, and just to listen to yourself. And I do think a really good way to look at it is again, in the past in my relationships, like if someone upset me, I'd be like, fine, bye. And I would leave, and I wouldn't want to be around them. If we couldn't talk it out, I wouldn't want to be around them, and I'd go away. And for some freaking reason, I just can't not want to be away from you. Like, I'm so needy with you. Like, I just, like, when we're in a fight, I get so frustrated because the person I want to turn to when I'm upset is you. And if we're not talking, I'm like, sorry, you guys don't see this. I'm blinking. Yeah, I'm like sitting there, like blinking my eyes, like processing. Like, but you guys can't see that. I forgot. But yeah, it's just like, just knowing that. Like, that's just how I know. like no matter through like the ups and the downs. And we went through COVID together. There was, I threw my phone during COVID and we had many fights. There were some computers that got smashed sometimes, me and you. It was anyone who...
A fist accidentally went through the screen of a computer.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. But the thing is like people, like so many people didn't even survive COVID. They couldn't even stand each other during COVID. But the one thing is I feel like me and you never wanted space during COVID. During all the times we were together, it was more of just like frustratedness where of like, I didn't go out and see anyone, and then you would go out to work, and like it was just like it was just, I was a bitch. Like I was though. Hey, I can own it and say it though. Like, cause I was so overwhelmed with what was going on in the world, and we were in Chicago when all the rioting was happening, when all of that. I was getting text messages from my parents being like, lock your doors, like be careful.
Somebody robbed my truck too.
Yeah, that it was just such a overwhelming time that it was very hard. We got through it, and we got through it with, honestly, it wasn't easy, but we got through it with grace, and we still had smiles on our face with no matter what life threw at us. And I just, we've gone through a lot.
That's life. That's being humans. Like, we are humans. We're not going to sit here and say, oh, you got to find the life partner that's going to be perfect for you and never makes you... If you're not getting upset with this person, then they're either not human or they're bottling something up. Because we are human beings. We all have emotions, and you need to find somebody that you can be honest with. Mm-hmm. And I love you. Thank you so much for saying all that. You're so sweet.
And I've always told him this too, because I know in the past we all have like our own things that we go through, and I always tell him my negative thing about me and my positive thing about me. It's something that people would cherish, but something that also people would be like, oh God, is that I think out loud. So like how I feel, I can't bottle anything up. I can't lie about anything. Like I have always been told I'm a horrible liar. My parents would always be like, is that a Catie story growing up? Because like if I was a kid and like trying to like get a sleepover at my parents' house, or like trying to get a sleepover and be like, well, so and so's parents said, or like, and they'd be like, is that true, Catie? Like I've never been able to do anything like that. So I just like I can't even act. Like I'm horrible at like trying to play practical jokes on people without laughing or like giving it away. Like I'm so bad at that. But also another thing is I think out loud, and when something's upsetting me, it's super obvious and I have to say something about it. Like I can't keep things in, which sometimes is a bad thing. It can be very overwhelming for myself and the other party. But on the other hand, like at least I can always say for friends, for family, for partnerships, for anything, like I always say what's on my mind. So if we're in a bad place, you'll know, because I will tell you. Not like I'll act a certain way. I will tell you like this upset me, or I didn't like that you said this, or anything like that. I'll talk about it. I even had that recently with my dad. I love my dad and we talked it through, but like I voice things bother me and I don't let it stew, because it'll stew and I just voice it and I want to get it figured out and I want to get it fixed. And I just feel like that's so important with any relationship, is really the communication, because you're both human, you're both growing. And also, again, like I said, I don't like being mad at people. I don't like playing games. I've never been that way. So I would prefer you knowing how I'm feeling and knowing what upset me or what, just anything. Like I don't know. I think out loud. I talk to myself in the car. Like
that's a sign of intelligence.
I do. I was having a conversation with my coworker the other day as we were driving, and it was actually funny because I was just like, she said something like, good job, and I was like, oh, I talk to myself too. And she like said in the context where she was like, I actually don't, and I was like, oh crap, well, I talk to myself. I'll be driving on the road and I'll like do something or make a right, or like I'll make a decision like, you know what, we're gonna go here, and I'll talk to myself like, we're gonna go here, and I'm like, Catie, it's just me in the car, like relax, it's I, not we, it's I. But I really think that's also a good sign of like me being on a team with myself too, if that makes sense.
And honesty with yourself, and just being able to
it's not
be
like I think someone else is in the car with me.
Non-sanity.
It's to myself. I promise.
That's cool to be able to like give yourself advice, because then you can grow with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special trait. So
Yeah, it sure is special.
no, stop it. Nothing to be ashamed of. It's a beautiful thing. But I do want to kind of bring this back a little bit. That was a beautiful tangent. No, it was awesome, and I love you so much. I appreciate you.
I love you.
But kind of the gist of where I was going with, just rambling about myself in the beginning was what I'm learning from this. And this is an ongoing process, and I believe it forever will be. But you have to learn to detach yourself from outcomes that you want to create flow in your life. Because when you attach yourself to outcomes and it means the world to you, like if you think of something that you want and then somebody asks you, what happens if you don't get that? Or what happens if that doesn't happen? And you say that would be terrible. That'd be awful. I don't know what I would do if this didn't happen for me. Then that means that you got that emotional attachment and you're blocking yourself. That's a barricade in your life that you need to open up. If you can detach yourself, but maintain a clear goal, not to get confused. You want to maintain a clear goal without attachment. If you can have a clear goal with detachment, that's what opens you up to flow. And if things don't work out the way that you plan with your goals, having that detachment is a beautiful thing because you're not attaching yourself to failure. You completely eliminate failure because it's a marathon at this point. I mean, everybody's heard of this. Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. But if you're detaching yourself from failure, you're making it more of, for like a dirt bike term, like if you're going through a whoop section and you wear out your legs, you're just like, and it hurts, you could, like, if you don't hit something that you want in your life, expending energy, like going through a whoop section, you could consider as a failure just because you lost energy going through that. But it's not, it's just part of the process. Or like in golf, like if you tee off and you don't hit the green, even if it's a par 4 or 5, and you call that a failure because you didn't hit it in the hole in the first shot, then it's like, it's part of the journey. You could still break a record. That was just one shot. And you gotta eliminate the failure because you're not going for, these quick, life isn't quick races. You got to go for the long-term win. You're building yourself up for a greater cause, and each time something doesn't work out, it's not that it doesn't work out. That's wrong. You're going for the long-term victory, and it's a process that you're constantly going through. So I suppose I'm preaching as I'm learning. I want to share with you as I'm learning. And that's what this, I say that all the time. That's what this podcast is all about. But really, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here is grow with, share my growth as I go, share what I'm learning as I go. And that way, people that look back on this can see where I'm at and how I got there. And, it's an exciting thing, and that's why I love doing. I have so much fun doing this podcast. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy listening back on episodes. And just years from now, I know I'm gonna just be so grateful that I did this and be like, this is so cool to hear myself so young. So that's what it's all about. And I know I'm going the right direction. I just gotta detach. I'm nowhere near where I want to be right now, and I find myself actually struggling more than ever, but I'm detaching myself from what I want. And that's why I think I was, where I was at when I was so young. I had so much going for me and I was so well off because I didn't have any attachment to anything that I just lived life. And then once I started attaching myself to, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. And I have this like rush in my mind of, I have to do this by this age. And I like force myself to do all these things and then just think I'm a failure for not achieving it, that, now you're just putting that failure mindset in your head and you're just blocking yourself. So, this is a process that I'm learning, but I'm still young enough that it's a good time to be learning it.
Can I chime in really quick
Yes.
too? I just wanted to say, again, I'm going to bring this up. Totally my episodes, but also anyone who resonates with this.
Yeah.
I personally am religious, and I wouldn't necessarily, I'm like non-dominational. Like my connection with God is my connection with God. Like I can go into any church. I kind of just have my connection. It's my connection and I can feel it and I get it. But it's not necessarily really labeled anything. And I would say something that has really, really helped me is that God always has a plan, and the most important thing is what's meant for you is God's divine timing. So like, yeah, you want something and it could be meant for you, but God knows the right timing. So just because you say you want it in a year, God's timing is more important. He knows when you're supposed to have it. And so also knowing that if something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. Also, he has the best timing, and knowing to live with his truth compared to my truth. Knowing that, again, like if there's a job opportunity that you really want and you think you're going to get it and then someone else gets it, not thinking that was supposed to be mine, but being like, God has something better for me. Or someone walks out of your life. If that's what God wants, that's what's supposed to happen. Like they might come back. Who knows? Maybe we need that growth period of time, and then all of a sudden we'll be on the same path of life together. Like it's just telling myself that no matter gets thrown my way or what happens, knowing that God has a plan for me and it's God's timing. And something that I've been doing recently is I'm not very good at like Bible quotes or keeping up with the Bible or anything. And I feel like part of the reason is I'd always start from the beginning to, good old Adam and Eve. And then I would stop because I would be like, this is a lot. And I would read the same parts and be like, this is a lot. And I would stop because that's a big old book. It's a lot. So you can get very overwhelmed. And so what I do is I try and read the Bible at least once a week. I know, it's all about just, even if you take, like now it's gotten to the point where I feel like I just talk to God all the time. I don't pray. Like I don't pray, but in a way of praying, I'll be like, if something good happens, I'll be like, oh God, thank you. Or like if something bad happens, I'll be like, God, watch over me.
Thank you for this lesson.
Yeah. Or like, or even just like, God, go get her, or like stuff like that. Like just like I just find myself talking, and that's okay. Some people are so focused on praying being a thing, but really prayer is just having that connection with God. And I'm at least praying like 5 hours in a day. Like like I look up and talk a lot. But on the other hand, I feel like one thing that's really helped for me is instead of trying to read the Bible and read through it all, what I do is I just, for a second, if I have time, I'll do it in my car or I'll do it at home just for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I'll literally go, God, whatever lesson you want to teach me, show me in the Bible. Just show me in the Bible. And you don't realize how great. And every time I read the Bible for 10 minutes, I always literally take on the day like so amazing. I'm in like the best mood. Everything makes sense. And the thing is whenever I open up the Bible, it's always to a passage that makes sense to what's going on in my life right now. And it's exactly what I need to hear. It's like even sometimes I share it with like you, or like I'll share it with Anita, or like stuff like that, where I'll be like, look at this, look what I just flipped to. Isn't that insane? Like stuff like that, where I just feel like that's really helped and like changed my life and has helped me detach in a way of not only telling myself like, because I know you got to work hard for what you want, but on the other hand, knowing that there's always a bigger plan, and even looking back and reminding myself, like, would I have imagined 4 years ago dating Brody Frye? No, never ever. Thought that was never going to be an opportunity or a chance or anything. But I waited my sweet time, and God rewarded me and was like, no, he's yours. But also like, even just like a year from now where I am, like I would have never imagined me being where I am now or having the opportunities I have now, and reminding myself like, things happen for a reason, and also things come into our life that we would never predict or expect. So you got to know that God has divine timing and things happen to you for a reason, and there's always good that's coming your way. And progress doesn't look up. It does not look like a straight shot up. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be twists and turns. You're going to be upside down in the roller coaster for a while, and you're going to feel like you're going to throw up and you want to cry and you want to just get off this ride. Like, you're so over it. But then it goes up and the end of the ride happens, and then you're like, I want to do it again. Like, like that's just how progress is. And you got to know that it's not a straight line, or it's not up and it's not down. It's literally a roller coaster up and down. And I think that also shows, like, with our relationship, if there's a roller coaster and it's rocky, some people are so quick to just hop off the ride, but we didn't. And look at the growth that we've had now and how different we are, and how just we would have never pictured ourselves. You're looking at me and I'm trying not to cry.
I was just about to. I was about
I'm trying not to cry. You're looking at me and you're making eye contact with me, and it's making me want to shake.
No, I was just about to say something too. Is I love recording these episodes with you because you can go this whole time. She's been talking. She's been staring straight into my eyes. Like, that's you're so beautiful. Like, just that you can go on this huge, like, topic and just discuss all of this while staring right in my eyes. That I love recording with you because it's like we can look right into each other's eyes while we're talking, and it's really cool.
No, I'm not for the rest of the episode because I'm all flustered.
Oh my goodness, you're so cute. I love you. But actually, I do want to go back to the beginning of when you started talking too, because there was a golden key that you were talking about that I think kind of got glossed over a little bit because you said so much good stuff there. But the key that I wanted to kind of resurface is, like, when you're talking about going or reading the Bible and just like starting and then getting discouraged because it's just a thick bitch. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, but just the fact that you would, chip away at it little by little, and every day you'd read a little bit here and there, and like not just from start to finish, but like jump around and find what works for you kind of thing. But the golden key there is that just step by step, it becomes inevitable. Mm-hmm. And that's with anything in life. You make a step, one step consistently over time, it becomes inevitable. And that goes for success too. You pick what you want to do, what you want, and you start walking towards that, it is inevitable.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
Just the tough thing too as humans is just to get the time frame out of your mind and keep moving.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. That was powerful. Again, every time I have you on, it's just such a powerful episode.
I really feel called to tell this story really quickly.
Please.
Sorry, I know we need to wrap up the episode.
No.
But I just want to show the inevitability of you not predicting what's going to happen. So, a little story about me and Brody. I met him when I was in beauty school. My last name's Frantz. His is Frye. His sister was in my class, and so her last name is Frye. And so we had our men's cut practical, and, my dad and my brother, no.
Hey now.
No, my dad and Brody. It's BRO, okay?
Yeah.
I was thinking family. My dad and Brody. No. And you're Steph's brother, but my dad and Brody were ironically in the waiting room together, don't even know each other. Brody went and got his men's cut, and then I didn't even see him. I was so focused on my dad's hair because he has like the most difficult hair to cut ever. So he was like the worst model to bring. Best and the worst.
It was the waiting room full of people, and we sat next to each other on the couch. I think I told you that.
Yeah. And so then I didn't get to see Brody, but then Steph's like, Steph and one of our classmates, Mikey's like, her brother's so hot, you need to see a photo of him. And I'm like, okay, let me see this guy. And I go and look.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. And I go and she shows me a picture, and I'm like, Steph, your brother's really cute. And I remember the first thing I noticed with your smile. So then later on down the road, then you get another haircut by her. And I'm like, ooh, okay. And you were just super sweet, super nice. Like, I was being like, I love your sister kind of thing. Because I was super close with her. And you were just like super sweet, super smiley, like thank you, and just like just super super sweet and super nice. That's like the only way I can say it. And I remember going to Steph and being like, dude, like I don't even want to date anyone, and for some reason I really like your brother. I kid you guys not, like I got out of a bad relationship. It was for a while, like I was single, and I did not like boys and men. I like just didn't. I mean, I dated, but like I wanted to focus on myself and my career, and for some reason this man, I like was rethinking my whole life story. Like I didn't know what to do, and so I talked to Steph, and I'm like, Steph, what can I do to like talk to your brother? And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, like he's got a house and a dog and he's with someone and they've been together for like years, so they're probably gonna get married. And I'm like, shit, okay. That's the end of that story. Then I literally don't do anything. Like I literally am just like, okay, out of my mind. Like that sucks. Okay. Anytime he shows up, I'm going to lunch. I am, because this man makes me flustered and like I'm super nervous. And so then I would like always walk away and everything. And so I'm told that. So like that's the end of that story. That's like, okay, I absolutely adored this man and wanted to be his girlfriend. And okay, that's the end of that. And then I have a morning. It's our first final day. It's like an intense day. I'm doing a lot of studying. I'm on the highway. I get rear-ended. I'm running late. It is a horrible morning for me. And then I have Miss Steffi Frye like, come sit by me, come sit by me. And at this time, me and her didn't really talk. So I'm like, okay, sure. Like, okay, I will. And so I go sit next to her and we're taking our test. And, you know, like, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? And then that's when she goes, just so you know, my brother's single. And I'm like, oh my God, what? Why are you telling me this? What? And so then it wasn't that day, but it was like 2 days later is when all of a sudden I have everyone from beauty school. I have Nick, I have Steph, I have everyone messaging me being like, Brody's gonna message you, he thinks you're so cute, Brody's gonna message you. And then as I'm like at the mall with my best friend, I get a message in my Instagram from Brody Frye being like, hey, how's it going, you want to go on a date?
Yeah, I said it just like that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. No, you were like,
hi, I'm Brody.
You probably did. No, I'm joking. But it's just crazy. Like I'm telling people this because.
Would you mind if I added you on Snapchat?
That's literally, yeah. Even though it's in your bio with your username, do you mind if I add you?
Fuck.
And I remember literally you sent me that message, and this is so dramatic, but I literally remember I just like sat on the floor at Forever 21, just like, what? And I think it just really shows like I completely would have never pictured and us being on a date. And then I remember our first date, literally you were like, okay, whenever she's ready to date, I'll date her. And then in my head, I'm like, whenever he's ready to date, I'll date him. But for now, I'll be his friend. And this whole back and forth thing of like us waiting for the other one to like say that we were ready. And then it just like all of a sudden it clicked and we both were like, oh shoot, like we're like only a week into our relationship and we like really like accidentally says I love you, like like just I
did.
you did but I said I love you too because
days later,
yeah, but also
I had to cry myself to sleep that night,
but like, I kid you not, literally Mikey, who was in my class, he can literally vouch for this. I'm pretty sure it was Mikey, I don't think I told Steph. But I remember like we would talk on the phone, and like for anyone that knows this, like my family does not say I love you on the phone. Like it's just like a thing. I don't know. And sometimes I'll like forcefully say it now where I'll be like, bye, love you. I love you. And they'll be like, oh, love you too. Bye, kind of thing. But at the time, like we didn't say I love you on the phone. I've been out of a relationship for forever. So like it wasn't a thing. And for some reason, after we would FaceTime and after we'd get off the phone, I'd be like, Mikey, I keep wanting to say I love you to him. This is so weird. Like, why? Like, it's like making me freak out. Like, am I going to be obsessed with him? Like, is he going to break my heart? Like, what's going on? Like, why do I want to say I love you on the phone? And we've only been together for like a week or two. Like, what is going on? And so then I think that's why in a weird way, we both accidentally would say I love you, but we really were both feeling it at the same time. And I think that shows how intense our feelings were for each other because of that.
You're so cute.
I just felt like I wanted to say that because I just feel like it's so easy for us to look at something like I would have literally, when I say this, I'm not trying to like be like humble or like be a certain way. Like I genuinely mean it. Like I would have never pictured myself with Brody, let alone he's the exact opposite of everyone I dated. And I think that's why. I think because I love you and you are so special to me and you are so different from everything because you are who I'm supposed to be with. You literally match me perfectly. But like not match me, like you like balance me out. You compliment me.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's just something where like I would have never pictured myself being with him. I was told I would never be with him. And then you were someone that I really, really liked that I would have never pictured myself to like. Besides, if I look back at like my childhood crushes and I'm like, no, that makes sense. But still, like I just feel like showing people that you literally could never predict what's going to happen. You can even be told to you this is not meant for you or this is never going to happen, and then it does.
That's huge though too, especially I think that builds power, builds like energy and strength, just being told you can't do something. Because I find that with my own life too, is where, you know, if somebody tells me I can't do something or it's not going to work out, it's like an instant green light, and I make it happen. And sometimes I don't even mean to. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, motherfucker, watch me. And then other times it's like kind of more subtle and like somebody says, no, there's no way that'll ever work out. And then I'm like, I don't know, we'll see, I guess, kind of thing. And then it does. And it's like, I keep finding myself in spots where it's like somebody ever says that you can't do that, I always end up doing it.
That's why I tell you that all the time. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm totally joking.
You always just emotionally beat the shit out of me.
No.
Every night. You're a piece of shit, bro.
I never say that. I never say anything.
You'll never be successful.
Stop! I never say anything like that. Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Just kidding. I love you. No, she's so supportive. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing this podcast without her. All the support in the world. Oh my goodness, she's covering her face. I'm just kidding. I love you. You're so supportive.
I love you.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. Yeah. Remember when we were like, okay, let's make a short 30-minute podcast?
Yep. Yeah, we actually kind of got to go.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, no, this was super sweet. Yeah, first time I ever saw you was across the room, and it was literally like hair toss over your shoulders, and you walk away, and like, because you were laughing, you like tossed your hair laughing at somebody behind you, but you were walking away from me, so you like looked back. We didn't make eye contact, but like you tossed your hair and like laughed and then looked back forward and kept walking, and I was like, it was across the salon, and I was like, wow. It was my first thought when I ever laid eyes on you.
Was that during your men's cut, or was that the second time you went to get your hair cut by Steph? Do you remember?
I don't remember which one it was, because they're both like pretty
I just
close
wanted
together.
to know if I was doing that naturally or if I was doing that to try and look cute to you.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you saw me, because it was
or
like,
did I?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, word probably spread fast, because I walked in, checked in first, then sat down, and I think it was before I sat down. I was standing there and I looked out looking for Steph, and I saw you.
Oh.
You like stood out like a light in a cave. It was like bing, like there you are. You're,
bing.
yeah. Oh my goodness. It's just like it's the weirdest thing. I can't explain it because it sounds like super shitty, but like, because I wasn't looking for like, I was already in a relationship at that point, but like,
and also for anyone who knows, that's literally not his character
not at all.
So.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like it. It sounds like there's no way to say this without sounding like a douchebag, but like you just
okay.
stood
We've been
out.
I couldn't. A long time.
I couldn't not, like, my eyes were drawn to you. As soon as I saw you, I was like, whoa, dang, like, she's pretty. Yeah, you just caught my eye, and I was like, okay, nope, okay, back to life.
Back to life.
But
just kidding. No.
Look at us now.
I know.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's crazy, and that's why I just wanted to just voice that, because I just feel like that's something that, again, literally, I would have never ever imagined or pictured or anything like that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love you so much. Your episodes are so fun. I love recording with you. I'm going to have you on more just because I enjoy sitting down with you, and we share so much life together. So I think it's important to, especially, just having you on, especially if I really want my children listening to this, like you and Stephanie just being part of the family.
Well, I guess not drink, but we should just record a podcast on our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be awesome. Definitely.
June 14th.
Yep. You're so cute.
He asked me at midnight on June 13th.
Yep. Yeah, it was just after midnight. And I was I remember I was like, what was the date? And then I realized a couple days later, I was like, wait, no, I asked you, our date's actually not the 13th, it's the 14th. Yeah. And I was so excited too, because I'm like, oh my goodness, Valentine's Day also.
Yeah. Yeah, you planned that.
Yeah. I not even, because it was the 13th, and then it was I don't even remember. It was it wasn't 1, but it was somewhere before 12:30 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, it actually was the 14th.
Yeah.
But I love you so much. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I love doing this. Thank you so much for all your support. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. It's getting deep and honest and real. So, think what you will. I don't care. This is more, I'm just providing an example and sharing my life experience and sharing what I've gone through and what I'm learning along the way. So if you enjoy it, thank you. I love you, Catie. I love all of you.
I love all of you too.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the bonus episode on Wednesday. Rock on. Peace.